Hi, welcome to Meta Minutes, your bite-sized pieces of the Metaverse. And today, as you can see, we're inside of the Metaverse again to talk about the Metaverse, of course, right? And we are inside of this replica of the Reply Solar World. You have to know Reply has these physical gathering, social gathering spaces in all of their offices across the globe. And these are called Solar Worlds. And well, we have this beautiful replica, as you can see here, inside of Altspace VR, so that we can also have a chat here. But today, it's not about this a nice place we have here where we can hang out and have a coffee chat. It's actually about our coffee chat or a water cooler chat, if you will. And in particular, it's about virtual presence and digital humans, a very important topic we're going to cover today. And I'm very honored to welcome our special expert guest, Nils Högemann. Hi, Niels. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Rene. I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me. It's really an honor.
Awesome. Well, before we dive into our today's topics, please introduce yourself to our audience today. So, what is your background when it comes to design, the metaverse, 3D, and all of the related topics?
Sure. Actually, I'm coming from a classical 2D background as I'm working as a senior UX consultant at Open Reply in Bremen, where I design and develop digital experiences together with my colleagues. However, since roughly 1.5 years, I'm now a member of the Reply community of practice for spatial computing, which allowed me, besides my classical 2D job, to learn and gain new knowledge in the sense of spatial computing, as well as WebXR and designing for XR, as you mentioned before. So this all drove me into the theme of the metaverse and really get me included in the scenery. So that's also why I'm here today.
Awesome. And I'm glad you say that because you have this great diverse background, which I think is adding a lot to the whole 3D and XR community. So thanks for being a member of our community of practice for spatial computing. You add a lot of value to this.
And thanks a
Let's
lot.
dive into our today's topic, actually. And let me ask you my first question. So, in the metaverse, we as humans are mostly represented as avatars, right? I mean, just look at us. We are right inside the metaverse and are represented as avatars or virtual characters, if you will. What
Exactly.
is the difference if you compare it to social media these days? And why is your digital identity and its virtual appearance so important within the metaverse?
That's a really interesting question, I think. In order to answer it, I think we first need to understand that our appearance in general is a quite important thing for us, especially in social context. Every time we get in contact with each other, like we do right now, and start to communicate to each other, we want to be able to express ourselves and feel represented. We bring everything with us, like our character, our beliefs, our values. And oftentimes we also try to put this or transfer this to the outside, expressing this to the outside, right? So the exciting point is that it's apart from the visual aspect here, it's also about our expression via body language, which happens automatically in this kind of personal interactions of us. And we often do not notice how strongly they influence our communication with each other. So the importance, I think, of this representation is nothing really new, right? But what changed is with the uprise of this metaverse platforms that this representation is now even more important in the digital realm due to the experience layers we added back into our experience allowed by the metaverse and its technologies. Where on social media, you have your social media profile picture, which represents you as a person, and which appears also when you're getting in contact with others, like writing a message. In the three-dimensional space, so in the metaverse, it turns your profile picture turns into your avatar. And as in the metaverse, we're literally going, like we just did, go into an experience and interact with others in the three-dimensional space. This shift from profile image to an avatar is what really makes the difference and of the importance here of our visual presence. Because in comparison to 2D, not only the look matters, but also, for example, how well a platform is able to recreate and map our natural body language to our physical representation. And we feel we are here immersed, but we also be able to feel represented.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes Makes a lot of sense. And like you said, and also the importance of your 3D character in all these different virtual platforms is a very much important, very much personal thing, and might be even more personal than your profile picture, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, this
exactly,
is
exactly. Many
yeah,
facets
this
that
is
are added.
yeah. No, that is a really interesting point actually. So it's not just, we're entering this 3D world, which adds another dimension of exploration for us, but also another dimension of, digital identity. And which
Exactly.
leads me to the next question around, digital fashion and fashion brands. Brands and in particular fashion brands are all entering the metaverse space, right? You see it all over the place, like, just to
True.
name a few, like Gucci, Balenciaga, but a lot of other brands, of course, like just picking a few. Um,
Yeah.
all of them are entering the metaverse space, and they're also offering, of course, virtual fashion, like for example, the Balenciaga and Fortnite combo, but also big fashion brands like sports brands like Nike, Adidas, and
Yeah.
again, we could name a lot. Actually, all of them are a part of this and have some kind of offering they're working on. Where do you see the
True.
economic potential here for brands, but also for creators?
Yeah, it's also again a really interesting question, and I also really am excited about what is already happening, what brands already do on this market. But again, I would like to go one small step back for the full picture. As we already discussed, our digital identity is our unique identity, right? As it would be in the real world. So of course, not only the digital avatar as such, the person as such matters, but also how it appears visually, because we want, like I said, we want to appeal visually to others and convey something. Like in the real world, we want also to be able to restyle for different occasions, for example, right? So let it be sport, let it be work, conferences, or any other occasion. So what this means is that especially fashion is one ways to express ourselves and also to make this change, this restyling. So it's not a big surprise, so to say, that especially avatar fashion is a growing market apparently, right? But from my perspective, fashion is just one section in this whole new asset economy, which you mentioned. So I think this is way bigger. I mean, virtual goods and gadgets of any kind, I think, will be relevant in this kind of new context. Already today, we could see that gamers are spending $100 billion every year on virtual fashion for their avatars or goods in their games. So
Right.
the potential, I think, for businesses are manifold. I mean, you can think of different business models evolving with the metaverse. Like, for example, I could go into a fashion store, buy my physical good, so my physical t-shirt, let's say, and
Yeah.
with it, I could buy a digital clone of it, so I could wear it here. The same way, I could also go into a furniture store, buy my shelf, and because I have a virtual space like this one in Altspace, for example, I could simply do it with the digital clone, equip my own digital home as well. But
Mhm.
that I think is just one example, right? You could also think of your digital objects which get sold or sold, which might or might not come with ownership privileges, if you will. So basically, it could be access to a limited or restricted field of experiences of a given brand, for example. So what's really interesting here is that I think the creativeness or the creativity is the limiting factor. You can think of many business models. The important thing we need to consider is, though, that these strategies we're putting out in the metaverse should reflect on a brand identity and the core
Mhm.
beliefs and core values of a brand, so it gets represented also in the metaverse as such.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And particularly, I liked your example you gave with this kind of, well, let's call it a transmedia experience, right? Where you have your physical good on that you buy in a store, and you get actually also the digital kind of replica of this along with it. And
Yeah,
yeah, I've seen
exactly.
some fashion brands are already using that, right?
True. Yeah, that's that's true.
Right. The what it when we look at the current market, right, it's this kind of a multiverse, in fact. So it's not just one metaverse, which is the big vision in a couple of years, hopefully. that we have one metaverse and you have different metaverse spaces, right? You have one for, like, say, Meta, there's one for Microsoft, there's one for Amazon, and so on. Instead, right now, what we have is we have all these different kind of, heterogeneous walled garden metaverse platforms, if you will, that all the big players are building, but also a bunch of startups, of course. But the big challenge, though, is when it comes to interoperability, right? Like I see a lot of
True.
challenges because, like, you buy your clothing goods in platform A, of course you want to use it for your avatar on platform B, right? And this is a kind of a
Exactly.
challenge. Anyhow, what do you think? What are some of the current challenges when it comes to interoperability, but also security and, of course, certainly privacy concerns?
Yeah, currently, like you said, we have a lot of different systems on the market. Let's just take a look onto the avatar systems. There are, for example, avatar systems like meta avatars. Like I can put it on my Oculus, but then I can also use it in the Oculus kind of ecosystem. But
Yeah.
that's it basically. So the challenge we will be facing with this avatar systems is the centralized nature of the current metaverse platforms, I think, because like you said, the avatar is my identity, and me as a person, I move freely. But in the metaverse, I'm limited due to the fact that we oftentimes do not have interoperability because platforms, when I create an avatar on platform A and want to go to platform B, I cannot take my avatar with me. So which means I need to create an avatar for each and every platform, which also looks different. So it's not that unique identity. What in fact users, I think, will rather want and need is interoperability between the platforms. Like you said, I want to take my assets with me to another platform. I want to be with my avatar on another platform. So I want to take my personality, my avatar with me while browsing different platforms or metaverse services or solutions, right? So second part of the question was about security and privacy. I think
Right.
then when it comes to security and privacy, also the responsible usage of these avatars is really important. And it's important to have ethical kind of regulations in place. And this will also be key in the future. Avatars provide a great opportunity, of course, for diversity and inclusion, as people are able to represent themselves as with their true self and identity, right? While this is pretty cool that we're flexible and my avatar does not need to look like me or my physical me, it also comes with a problem in case of anonymization. So already today we see that in online games, many users get online harassed or abused in this kind of social context, and this can also become a problem in the metaverse because we can hide behind a person which is completely anonymous, right? So
Yep.
that's one of the problems, and this must be, I think, taken care of with ethical and responsible regulations, providing a safe space for every human. So I want to be part of the metaverse, and when it comes to privacy in particular, there is another concern, of course, which is coming with the amount of data big giants providing these metaverse platforms can now collect. I mean, in social media, it was already intense. They could scan everything. They basically tracked everything. But the set of data they now get on metaverse platforms due to the immersiveness of this experience, it's the new technology, is more intense, I would say, because they can collect body measures, biometric data about ourselves, could even potentially add to the camera feed of our VR headsets and use this one.
Yeah.
So also there, I think we need responsible regulations guiding this whole thing and making everyone feel quite comfortable and safe there as well. So overall, the metaverse requires really the highest standards of security and privacy technology to make it a pleasant future for everyone, I think, so that the metaverse does not become the dystopian oasis.
Right, right. No, that's a very good point, and I fully agree. And like you were saying, I mean, there's already harassment and bad things happening. see these days. And of course, we need to provide and make it a safe place for everyone.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I mean, right now, today, we're here in this private world, right, which you cannot openly access. But like I was talking with Saskia from the XR community, from Global XR, and they are hosting a bunch of public events, of course, also in Altspace and so on, right? And well, she said, of course, this thing is happening. You need to always look like which kind
Yeah.
of people join, like who's joining and what are they doing, and always look out, if they're like having bad behaviors. She was kind of
Right.
agreeing that, well, we need kind of, metaverse bouncers, like people that are standing at the door and it's like, hey, you cannot come in today. You are going out, like this kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
exactly. Okay.
but humans are humans, right? You always have the bad actors.
Yeah, true.
So- well, we could talk for many more hours for sure, but we're already at the end of our show today. Thank you so much, Niels, for joining us today, and well, thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. It was really my pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, and thanks everyone today for joining us for yet another episodes of Meta Minutes, your bite-sized pieces of the Metaverse. Please check our blog, follow our YouTube channel, and also the social media channels to hear all about the next episodes when we will release them. But also on valoremreply.com and on reply.com, of course, you can find all of our previous episodes with our amazing guests. And you can also find the episodes of our sister show called Cubites, Bite-Sized Pieces of Quantum Computing. Anyhow, take a look, and I hope you enjoyed the show and our episode today as much as I did. And well, I hope to see you soon again. Until then, take care and see you soon in the Metaverse. Bye bye.